Hi, my name is Kimberly Ho. I'm a council member of City of Westminster. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I have a special guest, and that guest is Jamison Power. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. It's good to be here.
I just want to, at the beginning, I know everybody knows you already, but I'd like you to maybe introduce you to everyone at home. For those who may have, maybe they know you, but they haven't seen you in a long time. So please go ahead and start with your introduction.
Sure. So my name's Jamison Power. I served on the Westminster School Board for 8 years, from 2012 to 2020. And I'm currently chair of the Community Services and Recreation Commission. And in my real job, I'm an attorney, and I've been practicing law for 13 years now, which is hard to believe.
Wow, you look too young. So, today, of course, we are only, I'd say less than a week from the election day. And I don't know if you voted, but I have, for sure. And so I, on this channel, on this particular show, I want to be able to treat you as a co-host, so you feel free to ask me any questions you'd like to ask. Sure. I think the viewers might want to hear what some of the questions you might have in mind. Those might be the same questions as the people at home have for me. So I'd love to answer any questions. So let's start with your first question.
Sure. So one of the things that really sparked my interest in your campaign for mayor is your experience as a businesswoman. And I'd love to hear more about that experience and how you think that translates in the work that you would do as mayor.
Jamison, let me tell you this. I'm passionate about my work on the council because I see there's a need for my expertise. And when I started in business, that was, 32 years ago, I started with very little money. I started with just $500. And because why? A lot of people say, well, your husband's a doctor and, you're a researcher, very well-to-do, and why did you start with just $500? Remember, this is, 32 years ago, to be exact. And my family did not want me to go into business. So I was actually disowned by my mother, and the Vietnamese culture. I guess the last, shall I say, the older generation, they tend to think that business people are cheaters. So being that I, of course, as everybody knows, I went to school and received a doctorate in pharmacy, and so I did practice for, let's say, about 3 years. I worked for Kaiser Hospital. And then after that, I concurrently, I was actually putting my husband through his special training in gastroenterology. So that was how we moved to Orange County. So then concurrently, at the same time, I started my business. And so I said, all right, then I'll just take $500, and it was just I call it a chemistry kit. And so I grew the business into millions of dollars. I don't like to boast, but I feel like this is, I don't know if you agree, but this is the time of year. It's the election. I feel like I'm applying for a job. Mm-hmm. So I want to tell people everything I know that I could say I'm proud of about myself. So if I say anything it might sound like I'm boasting of myself, it's not how I am.
That's an impressive accomplishment. It's worth boasting.
But some people might have heard it before, sure. But I have told a few times about myself and how I started. And so, I grew that into millions of dollars, $1 million of business. And then I was afraid to fail because, where was I going to get the seed money, right? So then I invested in I diversified. So then, of course, after 15 years, I went back to school because I never had any business training. So I went back to school and received my executive MBA from UC Irvine. So then over the years, and then now it's been 15 years or 17 years, and that was like back in 2005 when I went back to school. So now I've accumulated 32 years of experience. So when I heard about our city being in financial crisis, at the time I was actually on the Planning Commission. So I was, I don't know if you know that. Did you?
I did.
Yeah,
I
really?
did.
Well,
Yeah.
okay. So a lot of people don't know that about me. And I actually served on the Planning Commission for 3.5 years. And that was, gosh, many moons ago. I think that might have been that might have ended in 2013. So at that time, I did not plan on running for council because, as you know, some people, they would serve just for the title or for some experience, and then they move on to running for council. But I didn't have any desire at the time until I heard that because of our financial crisis, and then I got appointed to be on the financial task force. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Oh, really? Okay, now you know that about me. So, so then I was on the financial task force, and then I learned that we have to look at every single item, and I had to cut costs. And I used my expertise. I said, "Yeah, it's right. You're right. You got to run the business like a business. You got to trim the fat, cut costs, and do everything you can before you can ask people for tax, right? For more taxes."
Yep.
So. So that's when I decided, things didn't go my way. It's, make the long story short, I decided to run for council. And so that was and I used my expertise that I learned from my business, and I want to make sure that I exert my influence so that we can run our city like a business and cut costs, keep everything lean and mean, and try to save money where we can, while we don't want to compromise our services to our constituents, our clients.
That's actually a very good segue to my next question, which is, tell me a little bit about what your ideas are. If you were to become mayor, what would you do to ensure that the city is fiscally solvent? What are some ideas you have maybe to generate revenue or to cut costs? Because obviously public safety is number one in people's minds right now, and we want to make sure that we have our police that are out there every day protecting us. So what are some ideas, and what do you think about Measure Y?
Well, first of all, number one on my agenda, or shall I say, my priority goes to safety, always. So safety of our citizens, safety of our constituents, that's really important. And especially when we already heard the announcement or the report from the police chief that within the last 6 months, crime's gone up by 60%. So that's a huge number. And so it really keeps us on our toes, and keep us monitoring, and always think of safety at the forefront. It's always at the top of my mind. Mm-hmm. And so what I want to do is be able to keep our police force. So when we say that we care about our safety of our people, but we don't have money to keep our police force, then we're saying that we don't care about safety. And so if we don't have money, then obviously we would have to go to county sheriff. Mm-hmm. But as you know, Jameson, is that 80% of our, through our survey done by an independent consultant company, that 80% of our citizens want to keep our services.
Absolutely.
And they want to keep their police force right here, where they don't want to go to a county sheriff. So that gives you the answer, is that the Measure Y, I fought really hard to put Measure Y, as you know. Mm-hmm. Myself and Carlos Monzo, Vice Mayor Monzo, actually were the two consistently voted to put Measure Y on the ballot for you to vote. And I believe in democracy, the right to vote, that's your right. I have no way of increasing your tax. One vote alone we just don't have the right, really. So my opponents say, yeah, Kimberly wants to increase taxes, but that's not true. Yeah, you know that.
Right.
So with the majority, supermajority, we finally got the supermajority. You got 2 more people to agree. So now it's on the ballot. And so if you vote yes, that means we will be able to retain the $17 million we get yearly from the 1 cent tax. And if you vote no, that means that no, we stop here. But of course, that comes with a cost. So just want to let people know that the first thing to go would be our police force.
We definitely don't want to see that happen. It's too important, especially with crime on the rise. I'm just curious, what other priorities, other than public safety, which, again, I'm glad to hear it's a priority, and I'm glad to see you're endorsed by the Westminster Police Officers Association. What other priorities do you have for your second term? For your term as mayor. I apologize.
Well, I'm on my second term. But anyway, I want to say that my term as mayor, I hope you vote for me because, as you know, the mayor, to me, I do have a vision. What am I going to do as mayor? Oh my gosh, where do I begin, everybody? So as you know, my vision is, number 1, is to make sure we're safe. Number 2 is to end homelessness. As you know, we already started with the Navigation Center. I spearheaded, I actually put that on the agenda to get our city manager, back when we had 2 city managers ago, to make sure we collaborate with cities, and I did mention Garden Grove. And so now, better late than never, we're now collaborating, building a navigation center with Garden Grove and Fountain Valley. So I'm very pleased. And so we are definitely, that's a sure thing, that it's going to be built in Garden Grove and on a street named West. And it's not a residential street. It's actually in a industrial area. So I'm so excited to show you or to give you a tour once that's completed. Yeah. So that's really in the works. Our 3 cities already contributed our money, and we signed the MOU and the whole deal, and so it's a sure thing. So we're just not talking, we're actually taking action. And Garden Grove is actually spearheading, or shall I say, they're going to be owning the building. We actually had to. We actually purchasing the building, but although they own it in name, we have a side contract, and as an attorney, and also me as a real estate expert. What I did was, you know how real estate just kind of booms. I mean, as you have seen over the last 10 years or so, especially, and even in the last 2 years, prices have doubled. And so what I said was, we want to be, although we're not allowed to have more than one name, one city owning the navigation center or the building itself. I said, however, we need to have a side contract so that we can get equity. And we can get equity for that building. So later on, we'll be able to, it'll pay for itself in that we'll be able to use the equity. And oh my gosh, since the building itself costs like $8 million, my prediction is that at the rate, how real estate is right now, not now, but the trend, I would say in about 10 years, it's going to double. It's going to double, and we'll be able to get the equity from that. Yeah. So that's the business person in me, and our city's been able to benefit from my thoughts and my actions through all that business experience.
Well, I really commend you on your leadership on that navigation center issue. It's so important with the homelessness situation that we have, and it's good even, you're not even mayor yet, you're already making things happen. And I really look forward to seeing what you're going to do as mayor. And I think you started this off by asking me a question, did I vote? I did, and I voted for you. So.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, you know, I promise to keep the videos short because I know how your time is so important. And I hope to have another video with Jameson if you would come back and do the second video with me. I'd like to talk more about my vision for our city. So please vote for me. I know that we're down to just days. And if you haven't voted, I really, really would like you to go and vote before the 8th or on the 8th. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Thank you.